Welcome back to Leck Tech, where technology is made easy. I'm your host, Leck. Before we start with the content of this episode, I stopped doing corrections from previous episodes like I used to do in the last 3 episodes, where I would do corrections to previous episodes, things I said wrong. I will only do corrections to episodes in future episodes of the same line. For example, this episode is on Windows 10. So anything I say wrong in this episode, I will only correct in future Windows episodes. The majority of what I'm talking about in this episode is on this webpage. This is my website. On this page, you will see the most important things to know with Windows 10, which is how to back up Windows 10 and restore Windows 10. This is covered in detail on this page. I would have to use an external video camera to show how to do this completely. So it's easier to use a screen recorder at this time, which is what I'm using, Open Broadcaster software. But I plan to eventually show myself when I'm recording these episodes as well as my screen. Like I'm gonna use a video camera. My second or third year, probably. This is only halfway through the first year. I try to do 1 episode a month. So for this episode, which is Windows 10, I want to start out answering a common question about Windows 10. The common question is, why did Windows skip 9 and name their operating system 10? Like Windows 7, 8, 10. I forget where I heard this, but a Microsoft executive said the reason they skipped Windows 9 and went to Windows 10 was because it would have created problems with file names. They used files from Windows 95 and 98 for Windows 10. Apparently, it could have caused bugs if they named the Windows 9 files the same way they named the Windows 98 and 95 files. I'm not sure how it would have messed with Windows if the next Windows was named Windows 9, but my best guess is in DOS, sometimes it truncates file names in strings, which are variables, not numbers, but strings. And Windows runs on top of DOS. But really, I don't know really why this would have been a problem. Windows is not open source, so nobody would know unless if an executive said exactly why. Meaning open source means nobody except the creators of Windows can see the code which makes up Windows. If everyone can see the operating system code, it creates security problems because it's hackable. So even Linux hides half of their operating system, but Windows hides all of their operating system. The operating system, like when you install it, not other software you install. Windows can have software that's open source, but the Windows itself and all software included is closed source. So, starting off with some unusual things that would help people, uncommon knowledge. The startup folder is more difficult to find in Windows 10, but it's still there, and it still works the same way. You put things in your startup folder, and it starts immediately one by one right after Windows gets to the icons screen. Then it starts the startup folder. Sometimes the password screen is automatically bypassed, so it's when you see those icons. So if you want to change, it starts the things in this startup folder. One by one in the order it was placed into that startup folder. So if you want to change the order in your startup folder, you remove files and put them back in the folder. You understand? I suggest making a shortcut on your desktop for the shortcut folder. A shortcut for the startup folder. Now, you'll have to change, this will be in the description under, and you have to change Leck to whatever your computer name is, which you can find desktop. This is Windows 10 on my PC, and you go to C, so it's this PC, Windows C, and then it's users. Yeah, it's files inside files, and whatever that is, it's your folder. So mine is Leck3p1win. So what I would do is I could key it in manually, but I'm lazy, so I use I like to click and I can't do that. can't highlight, so I'm too lazy to type it in if I have to, but I'll type it in. Leck 3. Well, I've actually already typed it in. So essentially, what you do is you do Leck 3p1 win, and then you highlight this, copy. You go to. I would do it on your desktop, but you can do it anywhere. New shortcut, and then you put that in. And then next, I already have one, so I'm going to do startup 2. And so I have the startup 2, it appeared. And then I click on it. And this is everything that's starting up when my computer starts up. Okay, so. Now, you can't put anything in here. Like you can put folders in here, but it won't really do anything. It'll just ignore it. And anything that can't start up will just not start up. So, to my knowledge, only things which work in the startup folder are shortcuts or a file with an extension with shells to an application, which is technically also the shortcuts to websites are also links to a file with an extension with shells to an application. For example, a shortcut to a web page is a .msi, a shortcut to a web page, or a .msi, a .pdf, a .mp3, a .bat, a .avi, a .jpg. These are all shortcuts for known file types for your computer. So you can put any of them in here, a picture, and it'll automatically start up when your computer starts up. If it's not a shortcut to an extension of a known application, it silently fails. And as I said, web pages are also technically known extensions. They're just .lnk, but they're usually hidden by the operating system. But they are .lnk. So everything in the startup folder has to have an extension to a known application. So you can't put a library file. Well, yeah. Well, that's the idea. Some things will work, some things won't, and it won't tell you if it doesn't. So the next helpful trick I want to explain is how to automatically open a program and copy a password to your clipboard. So this is useful because most web pages will allow you to save your passwords and program. But occasionally you'll encounter software or websites which force you to key in your passwords every time. Clipboard pasting works like with 90% of passwords. So I mean, for the things that you can't it doesn't save automatically, you can use automatically copy to your clipboard. All you got to do is right click paste. Well, it's not here. Like, do it here. Right click paste, or just Control plus V. Right. So this is there's a two-step thing here. The first one is how to automatically open the first part. This is a batch file I'm going to do quickly for you, and you can obviously do this too. It'll be copy and pasteable from the description. The first half of this starts like League of Legends is a free game, and I used to play it, and it worked. It forced you to key in the passwords every time. So what I did is I created a batch file where the first half of it it opened League of Legends. The first one, it copied the password. That's the first half of the batch file. And the second one, it copied the password, and the second one, it opened League of Legends. So this actually started the game. Now, not every program can be started this way, but most of them can. So all right, let's just show how to do this. So, unlike other versions of Windows, you have to do it in a specific order to do it this way. There are a lot of different ways to do this. I'm just showing you like the most common. So you paste this in, it opens up the folder desktop, which is where I had the automatic thing that copies a password to your clipboard. That's this, which I'm going to show you next. And then the next thing, it automatically, right after that, it went to the game the directory League of Legends, and it started the game. So what you have to do to create a batch file is you save as, and you have to do it this way. You can't do it the other way if you know what I'm talking about. You have to actually, let's say batch file test, and it has to be .bat. You cannot do it. You cannot just save it and then add the extension later. Windows 10 does not let you do it that way. So you have to actually add the .bat, change it to all files, and that's the only way to do it. Well, that's the way to do it in this way in Windows 10. So you save it. All right. So that's saved as batch file test, and then we have the other one, also in a notepad. Create another one. And then the second one is how to copy a password, and it's easiest to do that in Visual Basic Script. So Windows 10 should have both of these installed by default. So you just highlight this. You don't have to understand it. You don't have to know programming at all. You just follow these steps, and you paste. And you're gonna what this is doing, whatever's in here inside of the quotes, is what it's gonna copy. So it's my password, and you can actually run this individually. If you get tired, you can just double click on whatever this is, and it'll automatically copy my password, whatever you put in here. You just edit this and do it. So I believe you just do the same thing, and you do well, you actually have to name it what it is. So it was this. Let's do it. Well, I don't think I have the other one, so oh, that works. Because you have to do it in Windows 10. I'm showing this step by step because this is very useful, and it's actually safer than keying it in every time, because keyloggers won't. Keyloggers won't be able to track it that way. So all files, LOL password. Let's see if there is one. No, let's do 2, and then we'll have to change the bat. I must have my actual LOL password still. So then we'll go back to the BAT and change it to LOLpassword2, obviously, and then file save as. No, I have to see. It does it this way. You gotta find the actual thing and do BAT again. Batch file test.bat. That's the way Windows 10 does it. Yes, I want to replace it, yes. Okay, so now let's close these and see if it works. I'm pretty sure LOL will fail, and that will give you an error, but it should still copy the password. So let's get a notepad up and see if it copies the password, which is my password. I don't know if it'll work. I'm going to try it. Batch file test. Okay, so it failed because I think I uninstalled the game. Then you paste there, paste my password. There you go. And I did Control V. You could also do paste. All right. See? All right. So moving on. Right. So in every version, here's a neat little trick. In every version of Windows, the program in the forefront gets 10% to 20% more processor priority. So, for example, if you're downloading something from the internet, like you just bring it to the front and it'll finish 10%, 20% faster. Because Windows has tons of processes, like over 100 running in the background by default. Okay, so here's another useful trick. If you press down and hold Alt, and holding Alt down, press Control, and holding Control down, press Delete, you'll get the Task Manager. Now I can't show this, so I'm just going to bring up the Task Manager. You get a screen, and on the bottom of that screen, you'll see a few options, and the bottom will be Task Manager. You click on Task Manager, left click, and this will come up. Now it won't come up like this, it'll be like this. So you got to click on More Details, or press Alt to bring up the menu. So anyway, you do this, and this is very, very useful. It's the same as previous versions of Windows. You just got to do that extra step of more details and then the click. But I mean, I wanted to show it because it's still there. It's still the Task Manager, and you can increase the priority of processes here, which is probably the most useful thing in this, wherever it is. Okay. Now, moving on to the last part of this video, the 2 to 3 main pros and 2 to 3 main cons of Windows 10. Let's start with the pros. Windows 10 runs faster than previous versions of Windows on fast computers. But you need a pretty powerful computer to run Windows 10. Windows 10 probably runs slower than Windows 7 and Windows 8 on slower computers. Let me say that again. If you have a fast computer, Windows 10 runs faster. And if you have a slower computer, Windows 10 runs slower. So basically, if you have an older computer, you want to use an older operating system for it to run faster. I'm not 100% sure this is correct, but this is the way it used to work with previous versions of Windows, so that's what I think it probably still does. It's just a good idea to run a newer operating system on a newer computer. It's designed for it. Here are the official specifications, that like the minimum requirements for Windows, but this is like not even true. This can't be true because hard disk space, you need 55 gigabytes to even install Windows 10, and it's not gonna work. So this is all bullshit. I mean, you need at least 4 gigabytes for a 64-bit RAM, and it's usually DDR2 or above. Then this isn't correct, and I know for a fact you can run it on less than 800 by 600. So yes, it's on the official website, but it's not correct. Another pro about, basically you need a fast computer to run Windows 10, or it's not going to work as well. You can. Those are the minimum, and you could probably go less than that with the display. You could, but anyway. So another pro about Windows 10 is Windows Update runs better and faster than previous versions of Windows. It's a big thing because it was really annoying when you couldn't update your computer to prevent it correctly, and it was Microsoft's fault. It wasn't like a virus. So you do update and security. That was the gear, start menu, gear, update and security, and then Windows Update. It's the first one. So you can mess with the settings here, but it doesn't let you disable it. I've yet to see Windows 10 Windows Update encounter an error like previous versions of Windows did, which is a good thing. Given Windows hides a lot of error messages, and gives you false information, it's still, it would tell you if there was an error with this, because this is important. Automatic updates, and it doesn't let you disable that without a very easy hack, which is legal. It's a legal hack. Most hacking is legal. You just hear about the illegal ones. So over 90% of hacking is legal. I wouldn't recommend hacking basically you're stopping Windows Update from updating automatically. On previous versions of Windows you could, but on this one you can't even stop it, which is good. I wouldn't recommend that for most users because Windows Update is the best prevention on your computer for viruses, even though your router is the best prevention you have from viruses. But the best solution you have for viruses is reinstalling Windows. That always works. Unless if it's a BIOS virus, which I did encounter a BIOS virus once, BIOS. But let's move on. You don't need a third-party antivirus software. Windows 8 and 10 will actually tell you don't need third-party antivirus software. So, the built-in antivirus software works great. I've seen antivirus software fight with Windows antivirus software, so it's just not there's really no point. If you want more security, the answer is not installing additional antivirus software. However, if you already did install additional antivirus software like McAfee, Norton, whatever else, don't uninstall it because it could corrupt your computer. Just leave it on. You messed up, leave it on. It'll slow down your computer, but it's better to leave it on. A good suggestion is zonealarm. Type that in. I don't know if it's still around or it's still free. What zonealarm does is it micromanages all the programs individually which access the internet, and there are a lot of them. Now you can always allow each program, but there's a lot of individual subprograms accessing the internet with any normal computer use. And unless you are a computer expert, you probably don't know the difference between the programs which are safe and the programs which are not safe, because like most of them are safe, and if you not allow some of them that aren't safe, you're going to be messing with your computer, the operation, which is not a bad thing. You're going to be messing with the operation of your computer, which is, it's annoying. It's a headache. So it's really just, zonealarm is better for like if you're in a virus intensive situation or you're trying to clean a virus, without that works well. There's also some add-ons you can add that work like zonealarm just for browsers. Also annoying, but it's it's not bad. It's not going to hurt you, but it's more for the expert computer user. The antivirus software built into Windows is fine for everyone. I don't even use zonealarm. It's overkill. If you didn't understand what I said about viruses, don't worry. I'm not going to go into more detail about that. I just want to be thorough when I explain why you don't need additional antivirus software and what options you are if you really want more security. Backing up Windows is by far the best way to stop. It's not to prevent. It's to clean a virus. And that's what like computer stores will do if you bring your computer. Oh, well, yeah, they'll do that, but they'll usually charge you for Windows. They won't just install it. If they install it, it's illegal. That's why backing it up is the legal way to do it. With third-party software, you don't want to use the built-in Windows backup feature because 1, it doesn't usually work, and 2, if you get a virus or Windows is corrupt, chances are that's what it's going to affect. It's not going to affect third-party software because there's a lot of third-party software. Viruses affect Windows only. Now, let's move on to the cons. The most important cons of Windows 10. The worst con by far in Windows 10 is the way Windows handles drivers. That means all peripherals like sound cards, video cards, printers, keyboards, all hardware inside and outside of the computer needs a driver to function properly. I don't know what the developers of Windows were trying to do with the new driver method. They messed it up and took a step back instead of improving. The way Windows 10 handles drivers is so bad, it's only about as good as the way Windows XP handled drivers. In Windows 10, often you will get printers which just simply stop working. The process crashes. I don't know why. In Windows 10, often, I've seen mice stop working for no apparent reason. Normal mice, USB or whatever, just not work. And then they just start working again magically. Unfortunately, you're pretty much forced to use whatever Windows Update gives you as a driver. Some graphic cards will have their own peripheral drivers you can install off the website, but that's not like really a guarantee it'll work because it'll work any better. But it's another option, like NVIDIA ATI, whatever the graphics drivers are. So the other main con I want to mention about Windows 10 is the network issues. I don't know what the developers were trying to do with the network issue. Sometimes you get an idea what they're trying to do, but I just don't know. It doesn't work. I assume they had a great plan of how to improve upon previous versions of Windows, but that just didn't happen. In fact, Windows 10 seems better with internet and file sharing than Windows 10 does. The way file sharing works in Windows 10 doesn't make much sense. I tried a lot of different configurations without much success to share files between computers or phones without using like third-party software. If I figure out how to do it, I'll make a future episode about file sharing using Windows 10 file sharing. But for the moment, I just suggest using Linux or a previous version of Windows to share files. Just go. Now, you can also use like Skype because that even works for phones. Even though for phones it's a little bit of security issue with Skype still. You can use USB. What I generally do if I want to transfer something to my phone, I will transfer something off of Windows 10 via USB. A USB flash drive, hard drive, external hard drive, where you can even use like a camera or a camera flash card or an MP3 player. All those things work. And then you put it on a Linux computer or a Windows 7 computer. That's when you transfer to it transfer it off of that with the file sharing. It works so much better. Here's another option. So if those weren't enough options, here's another one. You go to the very top of my website, and you'll see near the very top. That's the new link to my web series, but that's not what I'm showing you. Here is. I do it this way. This is annoying for me, but it's better for other people. This is Windows 10 I'm using, so all right. So here, good example, and it's not my mouse. It's just Windows 10. So here's the best easy for current file share solution. Let me show you. That doesn't usually happen. It's just all these intermittent problems with Windows. So you SendSpace, that's the main one. And if that one doesn't work, this works in like Europe. So you hit browse, you go to picture, let's just do a picture. Pick any old picture, a funny joke, probably not the best one to do for here. Then we do upload, because it's not a family friendly joke, but oh, look at that. Like, I didn't do anything, the browser just closed. Now, it's not a virus, it's just the way Windows works. So let's do it again. I mean, and again, I've seen other computers, so it's not a virus problem. It's just this is the way Windows 10 operates. So we browse again. Pictures. I just pick whatever. Funny joke again. Let's try the same one. And we do upload, and then we wait, and then it uploads really quick. So Windows 10 is a pretty good operating system. Copy link. So I copied that. Then you send that to somebody. And you can transfer anything up to 1 gigabyte over the internet with no problems. So say I'm the person that got it. You sent the link to me with email or whatever. I have the link now, and I put the link in, paste and go, and this is what the other person will see. Then you tell them to click the blue download button, and they click the blue download button, and then they'll get this whatever sign up now, and it's just continue. I didn't even know they added this. They added this. I didn't even know this. Maybe I should change. Anyway, but the point is you should be able to do this. Let's just put in, I usually put in a generic one. Sign up now, fill out for access, ABC, 1, 2, 3. This is such a generic one. This doesn't always work. It just, and then whatever. Continue. Let's see if it gives you the download. No, never. And continue. This is, yeah, I should change this. This shouldn't happen. Oh, did it download? Anyway, yeah, you just got to click download twice. Well, that's good to know. Maybe I should put that in. Anyway, so that's how you do it, and then you have the funny joke, whatever. You can open, show, and folder. I'm not going to show because it's not family friendly. All right. So I show you how the connection for Windows 10 is buggy. Okay. Let's, even though I'm anti-Windows, I still use Windows for several reasons. I prefer Linux though. I want to end on a good note by saying something else good about Windows 10. Windows 10 is probably the best option for an operating system for most people. I would not, obviously it's laptops and desktops. The tablets and the phones is a mobile operating system, and that's something else. Mobile operating system. Windows 10 is probably the best operating system for most people. I would not suggest Linux or Macintosh for most people. In fact, I can't think of any good reason to use Macintosh. Windows and Linux do everything Macintosh does, but better. If you only have one computer, it should be a Windows computer. If you have more than one computer, what I do is I do one Windows computer and everything else is Linux. For a few reasons. All software works on Windows because the people who create software make sure to make it for Windows. So that's the main reason I have a Windows computer. That says nothing about the operating system nothing about Windows other than people prefer it. It doesn't necessarily mean the operating system is good, and in this case, I think Linux is better, but you need the Windows computer. Windows 10 is better than the previous versions of Windows, don't get me wrong. There are some cons. It's not overall better. I mean, it's not in every way better, it's overall better. Most of the mobile operating systems are being ported to Windows, so I wouldn't be surprised in the future if all mobile operating systems work on Windows. It's like Android and iOS, which is your Google and your Apple phone stuff. They might just merge all the operating systems. I don't know why they made different versions, and they aren't compatible. Like the applications, you know what I mean? Applications are for Windows or Android. It should all be emulated together. I don't know. So Windows 7 and Windows 8 are still supported at this time the episode was recorded, but it won't be much longer until Windows 7 stops being supported by Microsoft. When a version of Windows and Vista is not supported. When a version of Windows is not supported anymore, Microsoft intentionally breaks Windows Update so it doesn't work anymore for that version of Windows. And it's just funny because they tried to do that for Windows XP and it didn't work for everyone. So some people it was actually still working. Anyway, so that's all for this episode. As usual, I do not ask for donations, but I do ask for subscribers, which is you do that under the video on YouTube. If you feel like you have to donate, there's a link for donations on the bottom of my main page of my website, bottom of this page. But again, I'm not asking for donations. Just some people feel like, oh, this is a great job, or I have extra money, let's throw it around to everyone. If you feel and I appreciate that, but I'm not asking for it. All right, so that's all. Tune in for next episode, and thank you for watching Leck Tech.